What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by AutoTopNL. My name is Max, and today I'm going to take you around these two hot hatches from the VW group. This is the all-new 8.5 Golf GTI. This is our Cupra Born VZ long-term tester, and of course this is sort of an electric hot hatch idea, and this is of course the original hot hatch, or basically, you know, this grandpa's grandpa, whatever, great grandpa. So today I'm going to take you for a ride, first in the GTI on this gorgeous road over there, which is great for hot hatches, sort of as a benchmark. You know, we know what it is, we love it. How does it compare if you drive it back to back with this Cupra Born VZ, which is an electric hot hatch? Electric cars, they get a lot of grief on our channel because they are too boring, and I get that, I agree with most of that, but they do have one thing going for them, and that is that they have such a low center of gravity that they actually drive really well. And if you combine that with this 326 horsepower rear wheel drive car, which is quite compact, I think you can actually have a lot of fun on a nice road. So just quick walk around. We've got a red GTI with the 19-inch wheels. This car has the dynamic chassis, so the adaptive dampers, new rear lights, new front lights, new bumpers, dual exhaust. And then the Cupra is in this special green, only available for the VZ. You can have forged wheels on this car, which I think improves the handling a lot, also because you get different tires. This is a Bridgestone Turanza, and if you go for the forged wheels you get the Potenzas, so that wheel tire combination will drastically improve the handling. I think Martijn drove this car in Spain, and he's over there. He said that the car he drove over there was much better. Now I don't know how much better, but it could have something to do with the wheel and tire combination. We even have, look at that, drum brakes. They went back to drum brakes. Highly sophisticated electric car. You know, this is the future, but went back to drum brakes because, yeah, you don't use the brakes that much. But I am still struggling with the brake pedal feel on this car. So let's get in and go for a drive. So we've got a conventional 2-liter turbocharged engine in this Golf GTI with 265 horsepower for the facelift, up from 245, so 20 horsepower and 370 newton meters of torque. 5.9 seconds 0 to 100. We've got a sort of a progressive power steering that's lighter at low speeds and a bit heavier at higher speeds. And we've got a great chassis and suspension setup on this car. The 8.5, I don't know if they changed anything from the 8, but it was already great in the Golf 8 GTI, the chassis and suspension. If you get the adaptive dampers, that is. It's an absolute must. Okay, so sport mode for the car, sport mode for the gearbox. We don't have a manual mode anymore. Okay, so I'm going to go for individual, everything in sport, and just get those dampers a little bit softer. Maybe the middle setting for this road, which is kind of bumpy. But oh, the fluidity of this car with this chassis and these dampers is really good, especially on a road like this. It's so enjoyable. So I've got everything in sport except for the steering, which is in comfort. I somehow always prefer that because it's just, I don't know, it's just a little bit less artificially heavy. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, let's keep it in sport for now. And then just those dampers, you have 15 settings, as you can see, so you can go even stiffer than sport or even softer than comfort. But I think this works really well. So let's do a launch. For that we're going to go there ESC Sport. And 5.9 is also what we measured with this car. That car is a little bit quicker. Oh wow, I think because they took the Ford Focus ST and the Hyundai i30N as benchmark tests, or not benchmark tests, but they saw those cars as competitors for the Golf GTI. I think they just nailed the setup and the feel of the car. It just, there's sort of a distance between you and the car, so you know, you have less and less mechanical connection, but still, because you have a proper gearbox and they judged the steering and the dampers so well, you still feel like you have a little bit of a connection with the car, even though it's less than with a Golf 7, for example. You still feel like there's a connection between you and the car, because it's sort of, there's so many things that give you feedback. And why do we like this so much, this hot hatch idea? Well, of course you have a practical car that you can use every day. It's not too big. You have proper luggage space. Rear seats are good. And then this GTI is particularly good at, you know, daily use. It's also not, it's not very in your face like a Honda Civic Type R. It's a friendly car. And you can just use it in a lot of different ways. Now, this 2-liter turbocharged engine is not the most characterful engine ever, but they've just honed this concept for so long that you end up with a really, really good car, and it's very usable. It's front-wheel drive, of course, compared to the rear-wheel drive Cupra. I particularly like the suspension on this. It weighs 1350 kilos, this GTI. And it doesn't feel heavy. It feels light on its feet, feels agile. Of course you have, you know, that engine up front, but weight distribution is not bad. Yeah, the car feels just well judged. Like, you know, they've been doing this for a while, and they have, but yeah, just it makes sense. It's not super exciting though, I have to say. You know, driving experience, it's a bit dull when you just look at engine gearbox. There's no manual gearbox anymore in the 8.5 GTI, just this 7-speed DSG. Yeah, it's not the most exciting hot hatch, but it is probably the most capable at doing everything. So that's also why I think it's a good thing to have this as sort of a benchmark test, comparing it to an electric hot hatch, which we're going to get into now. So let's switch. First difference, you just hit the brake, car's ready to go, and you're in drive. All good. And you're off. So of course there's no engine sound, there's no gearbox. You do have pedals, but they are for the regen. We're going to go for Cupra mode and ESC in sport. You cannot turn it all the way off, which is a shame. Apparently they did have that in development. During the development we talked to a Cupra development person in Spain a couple of weeks ago, and he said that they did have it before, so they at some point decided to ditch that, and you cannot turn it off. I think because you have rear wheel drive and quite narrow tires, I think they're 215s, yeah, it might be a bit too sketchy. But what you do have is immediate power. As I said, 326 horsepower. It feels zippy, it feels small, nimble, and that is also down to the fact that you have I just keep hitting those buttons. You don't have that in the Golf anymore, but we still have touch buttons. Very annoying. But the zippiness and the just the quickness is also down to that electric power, because you have it immediately. So yeah, that's why the car feels quite light. So if you play around with the throttle a little bit, you are able to get some slip angle. Brake pedal feel, as I said, I'm still getting used to it. It's not great because you have the regen and then you have the actual brakes, and there's a noticeable switch between the two. Handling, steering is super light, but it goes where you point it. See, you can slide it around a little bit. But the car does sort of notice that you're trying to do that and just cuts it off. But there's enough play to make you feel like, you know, you're actually driving a car, which is great. So full throttle. It's a 100 km/h limit here, by the way, so all right. Oh yeah, you see, the brakes just keep catching me off guard. Now, what do we miss when we drive this car? It's not speed, it's not even handling. I mean, the thing handles pretty well. It's just the gears and the sound. That is what we're missing. That is at least what I'm missing. It handles really well and it feels quick. It just, I think it just gets old a little bit quicker, because you just get used to that power that's always there. Yes, there's fun to be had, because this car has a really good suspension setup with adaptive dampers and also stiffer stabilizers and stuff like that. So they really beefed up the suspension for the Born compared to a Volkswagen ID.3, but also for the VZ compared to the regular Born. So this has like a proper suspension setup, and you really feel that it's very good. It's just, it feels like a ride at a theme park or something like that, because there's no sound and because you have no gears, and it just, I don't know, it feels completely different compared to that. In that, I feel like I'm doing something, I'm driving. Okay, so 5.9 for the Golf, 5.7 for me. So I should be able to keep up with him when he launches the car. We have 63%. Yeah, I can keep up with him quite easily. See? So they're quite similar in speed. But because there's so little going on here, you just, yeah, that's what you miss compared to that. And that is not even the most fun hot hatch you can buy. It's just a very, very good one. So, hot hatch EVs, is it a thing? Well, it definitely will be. You've got that Hyundai Ioniq 5N with the fake gearbox and stuff. I think once they get really good at that, and you know, you get some proper range and heat management, so you can actually use it maybe on the Nürburgring or on a road like this for a little bit longer, then yeah, I think it will be a thing, because you have such a low center of gravity. The handling is really impressive. It can be fun. I'm convinced of that. It can be fun. It's just, will it be as fun as a really good hot hatch or a supercar? I'm not sure. Time will tell. But I hope that you know, by driving them back to back, you've been able to see what the difference is and you know, experience it with me. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You could also check out this video, this playlist, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.